Seal, the cool kids are here early. Laura Flores, what is going on? Welcome. Good to see you guys and gals and other human beings from planet Earth. Cosmic Cowboy here, broadcasting live from 47,000 feet. No, 4,700 feet. I wish that was 47,000 feet. No, I don't. What's going on, everybody? Let's jaw jack for a minute and then we'll get rocking and rolling. How is everybody? Hope you're doing well. I see Nia in chat. Justin Rohr's in chat. Jeff Kammen's in chat. Hey, if you're brand new, if this is the first time you're here, let me know in chat. Let us know that, say, first timer. And if it is your first time, as the good doctor says, welcome to the party, pal. Johnny 5, all the way from Thailand. Good morning, sir. There we go. We're going to get started here shortly, but in the meantime, I always like to hang out and kind of just loosen up a little bit. It's been a pretty good week. First week on the new schedule, working in the Haiku Forge as my main source of income, and then dedicating the rest of the time to Slay Security Plus, and it's been great. Been able to focus on some technical skills, continue to build up the community, and dream and cast vision over Slay Security Plus. Got to get some coaching in with Josh Mason this week regarding some courses that we are working on together, an official Slay Security Plus course on demand, and I'm really, really, really excited. First timer here. What's going on, Tree Hugger? We got some first timers in the house because we are broadcasting live on LinkedIn as well. This is awesome. Cedric, welcome to the party, pal. I see a lot of first timers filling in chat. Always makes me excited to see the first timers. We'll let a few more people jump in, and then we'll get started. Yes, it is only a matter of time before we get the Stream Deck with all of the cool buttons. I'm waiting for some sponsorship funds to roll in, and then I'm also going to use my tax return money and get a Stream Deck. And we're going to level up Slay Security Plus here in 2024. I'm going to go out and say it, man. Congratulations, Zach Hill. If you're somewhere in internet land, congratulations on the job with Black Hill Information Security, a phenomenal company that would be a dream gig to work for them. Was fortunate enough to make it to Wild West Hacking Fest last year in Deadwood, Colorado, out in Deadwood. And what a crew out there. Congratulations to Zach Hill. First live show, Nelson, welcome. Hannah, man, we got a lot of first timers. That's what I'm talking about. Amish Runaway, Cyber Chef. Let's go ahead and get started. Time is so valuable. Running about 2 minutes late. Good evening, good morning, or afternoon, wherever and whenever you are. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. I am the Cosmic Cowboy, Jesse J, and we are tonight broadcasting once again live from a nondescript home studio in the high desert of Western Colorado. And whether you're watching us live or on Team Replay, thank you for spending the next hour with us. And the next bit of time, whatever that looks like for you, because time is that one resource we can't get back. And over the next little bit, myself, Justin Rohr, Space Tacos, JR, Tree Hugger, Amish Runaway, Cyber Chef 42, Tree Hugger, and many others that are going to fill the live stream and on Team Replay. We are going to be building community, gaining InfoSec certification insight, and helping you prepare for the CompTIA Security Plus SYO 701 certification exam. Before we get started, I want to make sure and give a huge shout out to tonight's session sponsor. It's brought to you by the kind folks over at Simply Cyber, backed by over 2 decades of industry experience, over 16,000 students. Many of you are not strangers, but if you are, go check out simplycyber.io. Dr. Jerry Ozier and his team of moderators and his amazing supportive family have let him flourish and build this initiative. You want to be an SOC analyst? There's a video for that. Have no IT background, but you want to break in? There's a video for that. Military to cybersecurity, law enforcement to cybersecurity, pastor to cybersecurity. Right? So whether you are trying to level up, whether you're trying to break in, or maybe your boss just wants you to get that security plus, or you want to break into cybersecurity, simplycyber.io, level up your career. If this is your first time, I'll let everybody know what is Security Plus. What is Slay Security Plus? You may have heard about it on Dr. Jerry's live stream, or maybe you're coming to us from LinkedIn. You see us posting quite a bit and kind of wondering, what does he do over there in Colorado, that kooky guy? Cyber Chef 42. Damn. Burp. Sorry, Kennedy. ISP is down, and me and my mobile data sucks. May have to be team replay. That's okay. We're not going to do a lot of quiz tonight. Tonight is all about strategy, exam hacks, and a little bit about my story and how I got to where we are today. What is Slay Security Plus? We are a community-based initiative with the goal of gathering and synthesizing the industry's top certification guides and practice tests to bring you a curated, inclusive, one-stop shop for your certification, Security Plus Cert Prep, as well as mentorship, career building, jaw-jacking. We like to have fun. We like to talk music, video games, life, right? Careers. So whether you're new here, or it's your first time, or it's your first time in a long time, welcome to Slay Security Plus. Let's get rocking and rolling. We're trying a few new things tonight as I'm working out getting my new workstation built up and all of that good stuff. It takes some time to get those things into place. So tonight we're loaded in our tonight's session in Restream. And so if you get some little choppiness or whatever, just bear with me. Hey, it's all about building. It's all about that process of getting out there live and building something. Learn, do, build, grow, repeat, teach, and let's roll. What is the Slay Security Plus strategy? We're just going to start there, and it's going to kind of be the underpinning of how this works and how you can jump in at any time, whether this is day one or you're just getting here, like I said, or you're going back and watching these in other places. You should be able to watch this, follow along, and still, have that same inclusive experience. Number one, commit to a date. Number two, choose your resources carefully. And number three, Security Plus only. Now, I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to briefly share my story. Okay, it's now January 25th, 2024. I get into cybersecurity roughly February of last year. I find Dr. Jerry Ozier and the Simply Cyber crew, TCM, Black Hills, all around the same time in March. And leading up to that, I was swimming. I was lost. I had no idea which way was up. There was good information, bad information. And I said, how the heck am I going to synthesize all this, pass this certification? Because at the time, I thought if I get my Security Plus, man, that's a job. That is a job. I get Sec Plus and I'm hired. All right, this is last year, 2023. Newsflash, that's not how it works. And the reason I'm passionate specifically about Security Plus, and you're like, well, how doesn't he do CC or these other ones? Dax, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the party, pal. Let's go. Good buddy, Dax. A lot of what we do here at Slay Security Plus is influenced by that man right there. I found when I got here, I was swimming in resources. There was good stuff. There was bad stuff. Some things costed a lot of money and they weren't worth it. Other things were free and they were well worth it, but I couldn't find one place to get them. And I had nowhere to go, okay? And so Security Plus only, let's talk about that really quick. We're going to go into commit to a date, and we're going to talk about choosing your resources carefully. But the Security Plus only, I got in hot and heavy, and I thought, all right, I'm going to study for this exam. We're going to go crush this certification, and I'm going to get a job. Well, I started to memorize concept after concept, domain 1, 1.2, blardy, blardy, blar, memorizing. I had no context. I was coming in with some IT background, right? Reset some passwords for, Karen and her friends, maybe fixed a printer here and there. I understood that an Ethernet cable was required to plug into my computer to make it, get internet if I didn't have Wi-Fi. Very, very basic level stuff. So I was memorizing lots of Security Plus theory, but I had absolutely zero context. Okay, so I was studying, but I didn't have context. I do, and then I can understand. You can tell me things until I'm blue in the face, but I need to do it. I need to see it. I need to understand what a firewall looks like and what do security controls. I know what you mean, but what do they look like? Is it a click of a switch? Is it a command line? When you hear these things, how do you put those into perspective? And so I stopped about a month into my studies. And I said, well, how can I get hands-on experience? I didn't really quite understand home labs yet, brand new in the industry. So I said, you know what, there's got to be a way. So I took about 2 or 3 months off. I worked on my Linux fundamentals. Try Hack Me. Here's a free, absolutely free. They've got Linux fundamentals, Windows fundamentals. Remember, you're going to invest in yourself. Do the free stuff first, because I know this can get expensive. But right here, I'm building myself up for Security Plus and then a career in cybersecurity, IT, that kind of, of the like. Linux fundamentals, absolutely free. A great way to start to get these things in theory and concepts of security practices. Concepts. Get them, start to submerge yourself. So I took a break from studying Security Plus. I did a lot of Try Hack Me. I did the pre-security course, the Intro to Cyber, Linux, and Windows Fundamentals, and then junior pen testing before I got the PJPT. And then when I went back to study for Security Plus, because it made sense, right? I kind of had a little bit of the theory, but now I had actually put some hands on the keyboard in a contained cyber range setting. So I understood some of the command line stuff. I just understood the tools. I had a better understanding. And so when it came time to study for Security Plus exam, the certification exam, I had an idea of what was going on because I could put it into context. And that helped a ton. Right, finding these different things, and there's other things. You can go to I think it's what is it, securitypluslabs.net or 101labs.net. 101 free Security Plus labs that you can do at home, and some of them are going to require research, and they're going to require building out and figuring this out on your own. Evan says, I have Net Plus next week, and then Sec Plus the week after that. LFG. Okay, so I studied for a month, had a good idea of the theory. I could understand. I had an idea of where all that was, but I couldn't put it into context. So took some time off. So going back to that Security Plus only slide, once you're ready to study for Security Plus, I highly recommend you just stick with it. So maybe get your feet wet, take a break with some Try Hack Me. And the reason I say that is because we want you to get this certification in 2 to 3 months, maybe 4. I know for some of us it could take a little bit longer. For some things are easy for me to retain. Some of us are busy, but it's about 4 months. Dax Acton, love you too, brother. Best wishes to you as well. I hope you're staying sane out there to some capacity. You're going to get this hands-on concept, right? So about 2-3 months. And the reason that we want to make it quick is because, don't kid yourself, Security Plus will not get you a job. You could have Security Plus. The Security Plus certification will not get you a job. It will not get you hired. What will, though, is hands-on experience, a healthy community, and kind of sometimes, unfortunately, it's not necessarily what you know, but who you know and how you can express it or explain it. And so we want to get that certification under our belt. Why CompTIA Security Plus? Why isn't we doing anything else? Why is he just doing this one? Am I biased? No, it is an industry standard cert. I love ISC2, right? But for the CC, Certified Cybersecurity, all of you guys that have gotten it, great, congratulations. That is just one step towards learning more and more stuff. But it's not quite treated the same in the hiring minds as the Security Plus certification. I actually think certifications, for the most part, are kind of a waste of time. Are they important in the beginning? Absolutely. It shows that you can memorize concepts and then regurgitate them on a test in a timed fashion under pressure. So there is merit to what we do, these little bubble tests like Security Plus and, CISA Plus and ISC2 and some of these fill in the bubble. You're memorizing concepts, folks. You're not doing cybersecurity. You're getting a bird's eye perspective of what the industry is about so that your resume doesn't get stopped by an ATS scanner and the hiring manager goes, okay, they got Security Plus. Let's at least see. And from there, it's all going to be on you to talk about your experience with home labs, to talk about your experience with other jobs. How can you take the skill sets you have now and turn them into cybersecurity skill sets when talking to a hiring manager? So that's why I say, get your Security Plus and let's get it as quickly as possible so that we can go and build our communities, so that we can go and build home labs and then teach and maybe help other people. This is what our exam is going to look like. Let's kind of get our feet wet with what the exam is going to look like for some of you that are just getting here in the industry, maybe get a little bit of experience. We're looking at a maximum of 90 questions and a test length of 90 minutes. About a minute per question, and we haven't even gotten to some of the nitty-gritty. multiple choice and performance based. Holy smokes, what are performance based questions? I've got some examples here that we're going to look at so you can see some real deal practice examples. Trademark CompTIA, so thank you. Exam objectives, these are their domains. We've got 5 of them, and they're broken down respectively into their percentages here. These percentages, from my experience with the 601 Security Plus, were pretty darn close. We have general security concepts, so a nice smooth on-ramp. Then we go into our threats, vulns, and mitigations. Security architecture, security operations, and then a nice 20% that's actually dedicated to security program management and oversight, GRC, policy management. Zach, what's going on? PBQs. Yeah, we're not going to do them quite yet. Don't have the infrastructure built up as far as a streaming system goes. We're going to get there. But I'm going to show you guys what some PBQs look like so we can at least have an idea, right? Because CompTIA doesn't really let you know. There's some things out there on Reddit. But yeah, we're going to get into that. Maximum of 90 questions, 90 minutes, about a minute per question. When you see these PBQs, you're going to go, oh my goodness, there's no way. Some of the PBQs, you're not going to do them in a minute, I promise. Some you will, but some of them take a couple, 2 or 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to do. And so we'll talk about the strategy about how to tackle those here in a minute. Here in a bit. Commit to a date, folks. Our first step, remember, commit to a date. Think to yourself 3 to 4 months out. Go download the 701 objectives. It takes about 3 to 4 months. You want to be in cyber? You want it? Then go, let's get it. Set a date. Tell somebody, tell a partner, tell your dog, tell somebody. And that doesn't mean that life can't happen. That doesn't mean that you can't get into your certification prep and then all of a sudden bills hit and poop hits the fan and now you can't take your certification. Or maybe just you're not as prepared as you thought you were. Or you can only afford the one try and you didn't want to pay for the retest, which when you get through Slay Security Plus, you shouldn't need a retest. Okay, so we're going to say 3 to 4 months of study time. Set yourself an accountability. You can tell somebody. It gives you a timeline. It gives you a marker, right? I'm a football guy. 1st and 10. I get 2 yards. Now it's 2nd and 8. I know where the goal is. I know where the line is. If you give yourself a timeline with some accountability, you know where you need to get to instead of, I got to take it soon. In the next couple of months. Here soon, I'm going to take Sec Plus. No. Just say you're going to do it and get after it. There are so many free study resources out there. There's no reason you can't start now. Don't wait on me to put out a course, right? All the resources you need to pass your exam are already out there. What Slay Security Plus is going to do is going to come around. We're going to get them all in one place and bring them to you every Thursday and Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, we're committing to a date. Accountability, so we're not all bark and no bite. And then we're going to build that pathway to slay with a timeline. Immersion. We're going to get to this next step, and this is really important. This is kind of part of the Slay Security Plus. Well, this is part of the Slay Security Plus learning paradigm. It's influenced partly by Pete Zerger over at Inside Cloud and Security, partly modified by my years of teaching experience and being a college student for probably way too long. Jesse, what are your thoughts on getting 601 instead of 701? Let's pause before we get started, because that's a fantastic question Tree Hugger is asking. Let me take a drink of coffee. Tonight's coffee is sponsored. Well, it's not sponsored, but it's Black Rifle Coffee Company, the Mad Scientist blend. A jet black. That's how I like my coffee. 601 instead of 701. I took 601, passed. I don't even know what the score was, but I passed, and that's literally all that matters, and that's all that should matter for you. Because I didn't have the context, 601 felt pretty technical. There was a lot of tool usage. There was some stuff that is very job specific. And I felt, and I think CompTIA listened when I look at the 701 content, is that when you are brand new into the industry and you're trying to learn tools and certain maybe controls or concepts, but without any context behind them, it can be very frustrating, and it can almost give you a sense of imposter syndrome. 601 was more technical than I think your very first cybersecurity certification should be. Now, that being said, you need to have that hands-on experience, right? We need to get out there and be doing our labs. The Google cert is a great place to start, but there's also so many free experiences out there to get our free methods to get that hands-on experience. I think that 701, if I was had the choice, I had the money, and I was going to take the test, this is just me, I would hands down have taken 701 over 601. I think that 701 has a much better on-ramp. And I think that 701 is a good job of being broad because let's be honest, we have had many industry guests. We're going to have even more. Tyler Ramsey's on next week. We've got Zach Hill coming on. We have Dr. Jerry coming on. And they've all said time and time again during our Security Plus and some of the tests, what you're being taught isn't quite exactly how it's done on the day-to-day. And that's the reality, is you're going to learn through Security Plus, get a good bird's eye perspective of how the industry operates. But then a lot of this, you're going to learn a lot of the keyboard work, right? We're going to learn that in our jobs. And so I think 701 does a really good job just giving you that nice, broad vocabulary. And I mean intellectual vocabulary. It gives you a nice, broad vocabulary of basic cybersecurity concepts that allow you to have a working conversation with either a hiring manager or somebody else in the industry. And then you go from there. Then you're learning and you're doing and you're building home labs and you're going to my DFR on YouTube and watching the SOC analyst. You're going to Jerry's, go to simplycyber.io and look at some of the home labs that are there. This is what I chose. So I'm really glad you were saying that. Yeah. So it's kind of up to you, but if I had the money and it was me, I'd do 701. Evan says WGU is letting us get 701 vouchers now. Let's go, Owls. This first step of Slay Security Plus is what I call the accelerated immersion. It probably shouldn't have a bullet point, but it does. It's a single pass, no stress, no memorization, and no taking notes. You're not going to do anything except for just kind of be with it for a second. Well, how do you get those free videos or how do I get an immersion for absolutely free that you're talking about, Jess? ProfessorMesser.com. Go see Professor Messer. Look, this is an index to my free CompTIA S01 Security Plus training video course. All of my training videos are completely free. You have the entire video course at your fingertips, www.professormester.com/security plus. Go find his videos. If you watch them on his website, a banner pops up. You can just click the X or click past it. That's the advertisement, but there is no paywall. And then they're absolutely free. If you don't have YouTube Premium and you watch his stuff on YouTube, you'll have the advertisements. But you get 701, Domain 1 through Domain 5. Everything expertly explained. You do the whole video course, okay? That's your immersion part. You're just going to go through and you're going to play it while you're working and you're going to go through Domain 1. We're not going to repeat. We're not going to take notes. We're literally just going to immerse ourselves. It's like being dropped in a foreign country. Sometimes you don't have time to get guides and write things down. You just got to figure it out on the fly. That's what you're going to do is you're going to just immerse yourself in Security Plus through Professor Messer from Domain 1 to Domain 5. And that's kind of that beauty, right? It's a single pass. You watch his videos the one time all the way through just to see where you're at, just to kind of see. After that, this is where the beauty happens, and this is the underpinning of Slay Security Plus. This is where all the magic happens. All right, so you watched the Professor Messer videos from beginning to end. You've been immersed in 701 Security Plus now for some time. You're very welcome for the Insight Tree Hugger. This is the underpinning. This is it. You've gone through the one, right? You've picked a date. You've watched all of Professor Messer's videos. You're feeling amped. You're a Slay Security Plus subscriber, and you come to the LinkedIn and you show up maybe to the live streams with Jerry in the morning, and you're plugging in, right? You're ready to take your Security Plus exam. Before you do that, you watch the videos, and you do a practice exam. I don't even know where to get a practice exam, you might say. They cost money, don't they? Exam Compass right now has some pretty darn good CompTIA Security Plus certification 701 practice tests. Look, there's 9 of them. Are they going to be the best? Probably not. Are they going to at least jog your memory and give you a guideline of where you're going to go? Yes. So now we have a place to start. Remember, Slay Security Plus actionable. You're showing up to learn Security Plus day 1. Well, guess what? You are getting a study session, and now you have a resource for practice exams. No excuses. So we take our practice exam. Go back to our little guide here. Take our practice exam. We're going to document those results. Out of 100 questions, I got 40 of them right? And 60 of them wrong. Of those 60, 20 were from domain 1, blah, blah, blah. And then you break it down. And then from there, it gets interesting because this is where we go into our targeted reading, right? We take the test, we go back. Take the test, and we look and we see where we're at. We document our results. This is where our textbook is going to come in handy. This is where the notes that are going to be included with the Slay Security Plus course is going to come in handy. This is where spending $30, I know it's for some, $30 is 30 million, 30 US dollars on Professor Messer's notes for targeted reading. Let's recap. We did an immersion. We watched all of the videos. And then we did a practice exam so that we could gauge where we were at. We documented our results so that we have a map, a visual representation of our deficits and our strengths. Now we know where to targeted read. We know where to study. We know where our brain needs to store things. If you just take a textbook and try to read it from beginning to end with the purpose of taking a certification, you're going to lose a lot because the brain is only going to want to retain what it needs to know, what's important. If you're taking this document of what your deficits are and your targeted reading, what kind of targeted reading? Professor Messer notes, $30. The course notes that are going to come with Slay Security Plus this fall, they're going to come with the course. That's going to be a pay what you can on-demand course. Could be free, could be whatever the value that you think, right? So you look at your course notes. Ian Neal has a textbook. He just released it. $40, 32 Kindle version. But now you see the pattern that we've created. So you get a textbook or you have your notes. You do the practice exam. We've watched the videos, practice exam, document the results, targeted reading. Then you do it all over again. Then you quiz yourself here at Slay Security Plus. You show up to the Discord and Professor Messer, you do one of his live study sessions. You maybe pay for some other quiz material, but then you quiz yourself. And you do this cycle of exam, documenting the results, targeted reading, quiz review, until you're hitting about 95% or greater on your practice exams. You're ready to go. Now, caveat, you're going to say, well, I'm going to memorize a lot of the test questions. I'm going to see them over and over again. And that's true. You are. But the key is we're not memorizing questions. You're memorizing concepts. And you're not memorizing concepts for the sake of just memorizing them. You're memorizing them so you can communicate them later in a functional conversation, and you have a tool belt. So make it a point to memorize concepts, not practice questions. And understand that some things in the industry are not done the way that the certification might tell you. But you're taking CompTIA certification, so just study what they want and don't go, well, how I did it is how I did it, so I'm going to choose that on the answer. CompTIA is not testing you on all of cybersecurity or all of your experience in IT. CompTIA is testing you on the the SYO 701 exam. They want you to study for the answers for the exam. Also, in a broader perspective, to study for Security Plus. So, underpinned, right? Practice exam, document the results, targeted reading. You're going to target like a sniper. Find those spots where you have those deficits and hone on those. And every time you're just going to notice, right? You're just going to notice yourself learning more and retaining it better. Go back, take a test. And here's the PBQs. Let's get into what some of these PBQs look like. Let's see. Contain. Nor. That's not what I want. Here's what the PBQs look like. Okay. We've talked a little bit about the 90 questions. We talked a little bit about how to study an efficient, time-tested way of studying that's industry, scientifically proven, however you want to look at it. That's how we study. This is a great example of a PBQ. This is almost identical to what they look like on your exam. This is not from the exam, obviously, but this is almost identical to what they look like. You get a scenario. You have to read the scenario. Sometimes they are about this long. Based on the scenario, drag the action to the correct corresponding action needed area, right? So you're going to go through this. This is a great example of a PBQ. We all want to limit on-site and off-site functionality with greater restrictions applied to sensitive documents when users are off-site. So then you look through your answers. Enable geofencing location services. You drag and drop, and you're going to go through these, and you're going to say which one fits this description better. You may know of a better answer in all of your life of cyber or IT and be frustrated because that answer is not there. CompTIA wants to know from the answers they've given you. Same thing with the test questions. You're going to get 4 options to choose from. Maybe there's an option that you know from your personal experience in IT or cybersecurity that's not there. Boo-hoo, it's not what CompTIA is asking you for. Let's look at another example of a PBQ. Here's one. Based on the scenario, use the drop-down selector. And I dropped one down and took a quick screenshot. You can see it selects. Which should you implement to ensure proper authentication and security for service roles? Now, I will caveat that the example PBQs that they give you when you buy their the CompTIA package, they are a little harder. They are a little harder than the actual PBQs. But this is a really good example of what they look like. They're drag and drop. They're basically, as Dax or Space Tacos would say, they're just glorified multiple choice questions, but they take a lot of time. Some of them take a long time. Here's another one. I didn't get this one, but this might be new for 701. Based on the scenario, use the checkboxes to select the best actions to remedy the e-commerce company's shopping cart malfunction, right? So we're not going to go through and do this, but this is just an example so you not taken off guard. Here's what PBQs look like, folks. They take sometimes a couple minutes to do. And here is an example of a test question. And now we're going to go into some question strategy, some question hacks. We're going to also go through some exam strategy, specifically the 701 exam or CompTIA exam. And don't worry about this is not an actual test question. An employee at the company is having difficulty remembering a complex password and is looking for a more secure and memorable alternative. What type of credential would be the best recommendation, right? Short numeric PIN, a username, a device-specific PIN, a longer password with more characters. When you get to your exam pane, the question pane, you're going to see confirm, flag, or skip. This is not something that they tell you. You can find it on Reddit, and this should be knowledge to help you feel confident in slaying your exam. We want to demystify Security Plus. So you're going to get the option to confirm, flag, or skip a question, okay? Here we go. Now things are starting to come together. Before we get into the confirm, flag, or skip part, let's talk about the question itself. This is some fill in the bubble hacks, kind of, these type of certs. What type of credential would the best recommendation be? Because I see best, and I think if I remember right, CompTIA bold and all caps, best, most, that kind of thing. When I see best, what does that tell you? Does that potentially tell you that there could be a good, better, best option here? CompTIA gives you partial credit for questions. And to some of you might, oh yeah, well, duh, we knew that. But some of you just getting here who didn't know and you're trying to study for your exam and you're freaking out, CompTIA gives you partial credit. And you can tell that in a couple of different ways on which questions are going to be the partial credit ones. This isn't science, but this is documented, and a lot of people have talked about it. Some former test writers or exam writers have talked about this in different commentary. When we see best, most, or multiple options, pick 2, pick 3, that means that CompTIA is probably giving you a weighted question, meaning that you may pick one of these answers that's okay and get half a point. They don't release what their algorithm for grading is. Let's say you get 1 point per question. Let's say the best question is, 3 points. The second best answer is 2 points, and the rest are worth 0. Well, you pick the best one, you get all 5 points or whatever, and then you pick the second best one, maybe you only get 2 points. But whenever you see best or most, understand that CompTIA is going to give you partial credit on that question, so answer it to the best of your abilities. Now we get to our option to confirm, flag, or skip the question. What's going to happen when you take your exam is it's going to move linearly through the exam. What I mean by that is you're going to take a question, you'll click next, you'll go to the next question. You can't see them all and pick and choose, but they go through, and they may have changes in 701. an exam hack for you is anything that you're not sure of. Always answer something. Answer with what you think could be the best option, and then flag it. Because when you get to the very end, before you finally submit your exam, something special happens that a lot of people don't know. Here's another example of a test question. Blah, 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 blah. Words, words, words. What is the most appropriate approach to achieve these goals? Here is a perfect example of another one that is probably partially, you get partial credit for. That's a weighted question. We see the word most, right? There's in that little tidbit right there, you can start to unlock this exam. Quadratic is greater than linear. I agree. I like math too. All right, so the CompTIA exam is pretty linear in fashion. It's going to go all the way, click, 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 you get to the end. Let me see what my next slide is. We'll pause. Okay. So you're going to, flag, skip, whatever. You're going to get to the end. Hopefully that you've answered every single question and then you flag the ones you don't know. Because before you hit to submit, the very last thing, you're going to get a grid of all of the questions. And the ones that you flagged are going to have a little flag next to them. And then you can look at your exam as almost, like a grid. And you can start to pick and choose and answer those ones in a less linear fashion. So something to consider is as you're taking the exam and you're looking at the time is, yes, you want to give yourself about a minute to answer them. If you don't have it in a minute, just get one that you think is the closest, click it, and then flag it. Because let's say you don't have enough time. Well, maybe you'll get partial credit for being a best or a better of the options. Yeah, so you can go back. Now, once you hit that final submit, obviously you cannot. But yeah, Amish Runaway, to answer your question, when you get to the very end, you can look at the ones that you flagged for later. And I think it might even warn you that you have unanswered questions. I'm pretty sure it does. But anyways, you flag them for later, and then you go back. Here's another little exam hack that we should talk about. PBQs versus the multiple choice questions. Which ones to do first? There's a lot of people that have different methods. I can tell you that from my experience and from the experience of a lot of other people, they have found that they looked at their PBQs, and if they knew them right away, they'd smash the ones out that they did. They would go then do their multiple choice and then come back to the PBQs. PBQs are weighted a little more than the multiple choice, but there's more multiple choice, and every single box that you click that's a correct answer on the PBQ, you also get credit for. So just like, let me go back a few slides so I can give you an example. Let's see if this works. Let's say on this one right here, let's say you only got these first 2 rows of slides, or first 3 rows of drop-down boxes correct, but the rest of them were incorrect. You're going to get partial credit for the ones that you did know. Also remember that CompTIA does not take away points for the certification exam. They only give points. So you can only get more points, but you can't lose them. That's what I'm saying. So answer every single question. Flag them. Go back. Now, here's the beauty of doing your multiple choice before the PBQs. The PBQs tend to be a little more technical, and they do tend to require some more abstract thought than, what is that? What is that acronym again? Oh yeah, it's this one. We're already under stress. Test taking can be stressful no matter who you are, right? And so sometimes going through the multiple choice gets those cybersecurity and those security plus juices in your brain flowing. It gets it going so that when it gets to the PBQs, maybe something that you wouldn't have known, but now that you've answered 60 questions on 701, you get to the PBQ and you go, oh, okay, I remember, turn SSID off on a firewall. Or that's what a technical control is, because you went through and you got your mind ready to go put your hands on the keyboard. Purizer says a really good point. Eliminate bad answer choices leads you to a closer to 50-50 chance of getting correct. And so we see this confirm, flag, or skip. If I'm taking the test, CompTIA will also, they're not trying to trick you. I promise. Okay, they don't give you trick questions. They will not give you 2 answers that are so similar that you're going to just, waste your time in a pit of trying to figure out which is which. CompTIA actually is in your favor, and they do want you to be successful in the industry. And so they'll give you 2 or 3 answers that could be, and then one. Usually you can count one off right away. So look through and you count one off. That's not it. Then you start to answer the question in what the question is asking, right? You do a one-time pass through. One of the pitfalls that I've found for myself and others is this habit of reading questions but not getting to the end. We think it's a common habit. We finish each other's sentences. We want to finish test questions. You get to the end of the test question and you think you know what it's asking you. And so you'll go and you click an answer, and then you realize maybe it was asking you the opposite of that. It is imperative that you read, do a pass through, scan it, but that you read every single word and understand what the question is asking you. On some of these questions, there'll be a bunch of filler in the top, and then the actual question will be the next two lines, right? So it's super important you fully read the question. And then what I recommend people do, and this is what I do, is I would read the question, and then instead of trying to figure out in my brain of all of 701 where the possible answer was, I would do chunking. I would do a block in my head. So I'd go, oh, this question is asking me about password policy. What domain is that from? And then by knowing the area of the playbook, then your brain can eliminate the filler and you can get to the answer quickly because you look at the question, you read what it's asking you, and then there's a clock timer. Hey, Trina, a great question. There is a clock timer to let you know how much time you have left in the official exam, but there is not one for the per question, I don't believe. I could be wrong. If you've taken it recently, please. Context clues. Exactly. Context clues. Many times in Security Plus, and when we go do our exam questions tonight, you're going to find that a lot of these questions actually answer themselves. A lot of the times, and they do this because what they want to see is, can you read a question, extract what they're asking, and give you one of the answers from the options they give you, right? They give you the options. That's one other beauty of multiple choice, is the options are already there. They're only going to give you those options. And so use the context. Slay Sec Plus is a life hack. Dude, it really is. It really is. You can answer. Once I figured this out in university, it helped a lot of my exams. I'd find that they'd either answer themselves or I'd see something like best or most, and I'd be like, I wonder if there's a better, good, better, best. How many questions do you say there will be? There's a maximum of 90 questions, a combination of PBQs and multiple choice. There is a minimum, I believe, of 3 to 6 PBQs. I know that's a lot, but if they give you like 6 PBQs, I think people only have like 50 or 60 questions. I haven't had anybody report to me that they had 90 questions total. But usually it's like I had 4 PBQs and then I think 75 multiple choice questions. So I recommend that if you know them right away, you do them. But I also think if you go through the multiple choice, get those hammered out, then go back and visit your PBQs. And then before you're all done, it's really important you go through and you scan and make sure that you're ready to submit that bad boy. So we've talked about a couple of things here: confirm, flag, skip. The exam strategy of getting to the end and then going back and reviewing. We talked about doing the PBQs. Yes, they count for several points. And we talked about how answering every little box on the PBQ is crucial because you get partially, CompTIA gives partial credit on all of their questions. Not all of them, but like on the multiple choice, if you see best, most, sometimes it's the select more than one. You're probably looking at a graded or a partially weighted question. And the PBQs are partially weighted. Answer as much as you can and then move on, right? While reading the questions, should we underline keywords as a strategy? When I'm reading the questions like at home practicing, I'm kind of a weirdo in my study methods. Yeah, you know about the partial credit. It's pretty cool. Not every question, okay? But on the ones, like I said, the giveaway ones, they give you partial credit on those. I have found, as we going to move forward and get a little more into this, that I like to do what's called the rooting method or the tree method. I don't know if it's a real thing, but this is what my brain does, is whenever I learned a concept, I would try and learn about the concept that led up to it and the concepts that come from it. It's a really bizarre way, but it made Learning Security Plus really effective for me. Sometimes I'll read the answers before the questions and get an idea of what they may be asking first. That's another great method. I love that. So we talked about how to answer the questions. We talked about extrapolating or gathering, extracting, taking out the answers from potentially the questions themselves. We talked about how that you want to answer every question. We talked about process of elimination, that once you realize what the question is asking, maybe narrow it down to a domain, you can start a process of elimination, efficiently answering these questions in a faster amount of time, less stress on your brain. The test center did provide me with a mark and a dry erase board, helpful for putting down your thoughts down in port numbers. I have mixed reviews on the whiteboard. I have found a lot of people say they didn't even touch it. I thought I was going to need it. I didn't touch it because you think you're going to get there and write everything down. Security Plus in the in 601, when it came to port numbers, really it was in the PBQs. There'd be a drag and drop, and they're not going to ask you about every single port that's in IT. It's only the select few that are on that 601 exam objectives. HTTPS. You used yours a ton? I probably should have. I'm doing it at home. Acronym list. There's a whole bunch of them, but you don't need them all. And in fact, CompTIA doesn't really give you a bunch of the sneaky ones. You might see some that you don't recognize, but CompTIA typically in the exam, they give you the ones that are common to the training stuff that we use every day in the industry. And so I recommend you get this acronym list. You can pump it into ChatGPT, find different ways. We can talk about chunking, mnemonics, different ways to memorize these. I recommend when you're doing your practice exams, you're watching Slay Security Plus, and we come across an acronym, and I try and explain or at least let you know what the acronym is, that you start to make these mental notes of what these acronyms are, because it's not an all-in-one thing. It's a process, right? We're learning, we're building on versus hands-on. Then we're learning how to do exam strategy. Now we're learning these acronyms, and they all build. It takes time. It's a process. Can you get Sec Plus in what? Overnight? Sure. I'm sure that you could go through a quick boot camp and absolutely get through Security Plus in a week or a day or whatever it is. Is that realistic? Do you have family? Do you have a job? Are you in school? Are there other things in life? Is somebody paying you to sit there for, And so it is going to be a process. Something I want to talk about in our study habits. Mike is listening to me some crunchy audio. Something I want to talk about in our study habits is this concept of chunking, right? So we're looking at 4.5. I just chose a random domain from the domain objectives. Given a scenario, modify enterprise capabilities to enhance security. Okay. Instead of trying to memorize every single one of these things as just a blanket statement, let's do them in chunks. Just start with firewall. And you can see that under firewall is all this other stuff, right? And then we stop when we get to IDS. So first, just start with firewall. Then you mark it off. You have your thing here, right? You open it in a PDF reader and you can write down little notations. Put a little check mark. Maybe come up with a color coding system. Maybe use red for not familiar with or not confident, orange for kind of confident, and green for, yeah, I got that, we're good to go. And start putting yourself a little bullet list and chunking. Instead of trying to memorize everything at one time, instead of trying to eat the elephant all at one sitting, just take it inch by inch, right? Same thing with this. We're going to do chunking. We're going to take these and put them into chunks. It'll help you. It'll help you categorize and store things in your brain in little blocks. Hey, you know who that is? That's our cybersecurity representation. That's how I felt like when I walked out of Security Plus 701. That is definitely how I felt. We're going to get into some exams here in just a second. I'm going to open up chat. We have 10 minutes left. I'm a hard stop, 10 o'clock tonight. Got some family stuff going on. And then, man, we are prepping Haiku Forge. I am taking Slay Security Plus to the next level. So let's do this. Anything that we'd like to clear up, let me know if my explanations or some of those learning methods, it is a combination of things that have already been scientifically proven and then what worked for me. So let me know in chat. I'm going to grab a drink of coffee. Let me know in chat if you found that useful, if that was a good guide, if that helped relieve some fears over what the exam looks like and things like that. Kerwin Arthur says home versus test center. I'm a old school go to the building and take a test guy. I have, like, at the time my office was a complete pit, And I know for doing it at home, you can't have like there's a lot of parameters on like what you can have in your room and in front of you and the camera settings. And like, I've heard rumors of people like, shouting at their wife or something and getting disqualified because they thought that they were getting information. So home quality, in the comfort of your own home and all that kind of stuff, you got a camera watching you the whole time. I went to the actual place and I found it was a great experience. They checked me in, they took my picture. She walked me through it. It was nice. It does got to be pristine. It was nice because Cedric says amazing details. First time ever seeing how these PBQs look like. Hell yes. Sorry, Kennedy. Let's go. Going to the testing center was how I liked it. I like to get in the battle. I went like the day before it. I was on Professor Messer. I was in one of our group chats before Slay Security Plus, and I was like, okay, I'm at the school. All right, I took pictures. It's my old college. What? I know where the building is because I didn't want to be late. I hate being late. So I don't know. I like going to the testing center, but whatever works for you, right? It is that time for our Slay Security Plus review session of the night. That is brought to us tonight by Josh Mason of Mason SC. He's your partner for a secure and efficient future. Really, he is your strategic partner in tech evolution, driving business transformation. He's a CISSP course. He's kind of become, I don't want to say a business coach, but really has kind of come alongside and helped coach me in Slay Security Plus. Absolutely love what Josh Mason does for the community. And he is our sponsor for our Slay Security Plus exam session. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. Jesse, I was tuning into your first stream last week. Your study techniques helped me to do well on test day. Thank you, Tony Parrish. That makes me happy. This is going to be a relatively rapid fire quiz session. Kind of use maybe some of those skills that we talked about in that previous bit. Remove this source. Keep the bandwidth. There we go. All right. The owner of Taylor's Burgers. Hey, Taylor. Burgers shop. Get it? Restored from backup and wants to better understand file permissions. A particular situation occurred, and even though there are permissions on the shared drive, why does the burger shop still not know who deleted the files? The engineer explained to Taylor that enabling file auditing would help pinpoint all changes to a shared drive and who made them. How would this help prevent the lack of knowing who changed the files? How would this mitigate that? Confidentiality, non-remediation, non-repudiation, or availability? Feel free to log in, vvox.app. Our ID number tonight is 103-934-263, or scan the QR code and it should send you right to this live quiz session. Y'all got to monitor me at 6 on the dot, please. I promised the family that we're going to do, very much like Jerry, I've got an unbelievably supportive partner, and my kiddos are super supportive. And usually they say, just, rock it, take as long as you need. But they're craving some dad time. We're going to do a Mario Party tonight. Biscuits and gravy. I'm on the phone. I can't. ZMF says that's okay. You could scan. You go to vvox.app on your computer if you've got one, and then just type in this ID 103-934-263. And Purizer, I should probably caveat with this is if this is your first time answering these questions, we don't actually put the answers in chat. In fact, if you go to the QR code, scan it, you use your phone to put in the answers. It's completely confidential. I don't know who answered what, and so this is a great way for you to participate. What? Biscuits and gravy? Yes. The best biscuits and gravy I've ever had. I don't care what part of the country you're from. There's nobody in your family that can make them better than we make them, I promise. I'll Pepsi challenge that. Deadwood. Find me at Deadwood. I'm going to be all over the place for Wild West Hack and Fest this year. Come find me. We'll go get some biscuits and gravy somewhere. Confidentiality, non-remediation, availability. Most of you are right on track. Non-repudiation is our correct answer. Non-repudiation really is just that process of, file auditing, or when we have digital signatures and digital certificates, it's saying that the person who sent it is the person who sent it, and they can't say that they didn't send it. They are the person who sent it. Non-repudiation. Non-remediation does not refer to a common term, practice, or concept in security, but would describe the failure to implement. So ignoring it, just not doing anything about it, being Carl, right? Carl. My wife can do a perfect Carl. What time is dinner? 7, I think. Probably get it depends on how far. The 2-year-old. Oh, ZMF, what time is dinner? Yeah. What is time for dinner? What is time? When is dinner, ZMF? Let's keep moving. A newly hired CISO, or Certified Information Security Officer, is implementing the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. I can't remember how many views I'm away from getting emotes. Really excited. What first function would help the CISO better develop the company's security policies, such as acceptable use policy, or AUP, and build out recommendations for security controls? Protect, identify, detect, or respond. Let's look at what the question is asking us. Newly hired CISO is implementing the national, so NIST. We have a framework here. So we got a CISO, so we're already at that top level. Maybe a technical control, a managerial control. We can start looking at start thinking broad. What first function would help the CISO better develop the securities policies? What first function of the NIST cybersecurity framework? Let's see if we can find it. First function of the NIST cybersecurity framework. So that's what it's asking us. Frameworks. Okay, so this is the beauty, and this is what I'm talking about with the rooting method. You come here to Slay Security Plus. You're studying it. You get this question. You're like, framework. GRC, frameworks. What even is a framework? Is it like a physical computer? Is it a software? Is it program? This is a framework. It's a concept. It's a framework. It's this idea, a paradigm of doing things, right? Gives you something, gives you a litmus test, gives you that report card to grade yourself. Boom, identify. Margarita Giron, a moderator and a security engineer, is implementing the NIST, again, cybersecurity framework that we talked about. She's assessing the company's security posture to identify deficiencies from the framework's recommendations, meaning the framework says that we should be here. But then I did some research, and I'm not sure where we are compared to where we should be, is what this question is asking. What process can Margarita run to better understand what the company needs to improve on? It's asking, what do we need? What does NIST tell us we need? And what do we actually have? What is that process? It's a frame that works. Framework, an essential supporting structure of a building, vehicle, or object. A basic structure underlying a system, concept, or text. A structure, a system, a report card, a way to gauge yourself. Boom. Gap analysis. You guys are slaying it. Look at that. A penetration test would be a great way to maybe see where the exploits are, but until you have a gap analysis, knowing what you need, the penetration test isn't going to really do you any good. DJ B-Sec in the house. Ben Sherrill, what is going on? DJ B-Sec, just doxed you. That's all right, man. You're my dude. We cannot wait to get you back on Slay Security Plus. That's right. DJ B-Sec, Simply Cyber Moderator. Oh, pen testers. Elite hacksaws. And pen testing is not a dumb answer. There is no dumb answer. But remember that we need to know what our framework is. We need to know where we're at. What are we pen testing? So think gap analysis, right? What do we have and where should we be? We need to analyze that gap of where we are and where we should be. It's the gap analysis. So imagine that. It's been said that to learn concepts, you've got to put them in your short term, and the only way you can take them and put them in your long term is to give them meaning of some kind. Attach that to something. Attach gap analysis. Be like, well, I probably need to work out more, but I do work out 1 day a week. Well, the gap analysis would say that I could do 2 more days, right? The gap, like whatever it takes. Moving on, we got 1 minute left, and then I'm going to be sad, but I got to go take care of some fam bam. A well-known local shared message block, just kidding. A well-known local small to medium business wants to better define account creation process during the onboarding process of new hires. It is looking to ensure that new hires have the right applications, file permissions, and security controls implemented ahead of time through automation. What modern access control implementation would best aid the company's account process? IAM or identity and access management? Would it be LDAP or lightweight directory access protocol? Would it be a CISO or certified information security officer? Or would it be a CTO or a chief technology officer? This is a great example of how this question can answer itself. And then I got to run. In fact, I put you on mute real quick. Okay, so let's look at these answers. What is it asking us? It's asking us to control implementation. CISO is a person. You can scrap. You can take that one out. CTO, that's a person. We're asking about a control. LDAP, that's a protocol, right? Now, why are these answers incorrect or correct? Let's talk about CISO. A CISO is not necessarily a control, but a CISO would be maybe in charge of implementing these controls or having them implemented. So it's not the wrong answer, but is it the best answer? This is asking us for a control. Well, I am in, right? Identity and access management. We're talking about applications. We're talking about file permissions, new hires. What is that? What are we talking about? Talking about that onboarding process, that identity process. Hi, my name is Jesse. Nope, not anymore. Your name is 007. Here's your security card and your YubiKey, right? I've been onboarded. There we go, man. This makes my heart really, really happy. I know Taylor McDonald has been doing absolute slay work on his Slay Security Plus sessions. I've been trying to pop into those every Monday. I got to run. I promised the fam. Thank you, Edrich Mulder, for keeping me accountable to my times. New hires equals identities. Identities equals provisioning or onboarding. Now we can start talking about other processes, right? Onboarding, AUP, acceptance, acceptable use policy. So start to spiderweb just from the concepts that you know. Start branching out, right? And you're going to get this tool set. Oh, we get YubiKeys? Well, if it's my company, you do. I got to run, man. You guys are awesome. I cannot wait until the next one. Next week, February 1st, we've got Tyler Ransby's coming on. We're going to talk penetration testing. We're going to talk domain 2. It's going to be an absolute blast. Man, I hope all of you out there in the internet world are having a wonderful Thursday evening. Until the next time, I am Jesse J. You are Slay, and I cannot wait to do this again.